Rob and Slim Show.
Rob and Slim, it's Bob Phillips. How are you?
Bob Phillips, we're doing great. How are you, my friend? We were just listening to $10 gift card. Your new album, you killed it. You killed it, man.
Well, thank you, man. I appreciate it. I was watching your show, too. I was watching you guys punk several victims over the phone. I love the tobacco shop that...
We love them.
They were all sweethearts.
Last week we tried calling pool cleaning companies, and none of them answered. So we started leaving voicemails. But this week they were much more receptive. Much more receptive.
Yeah, well, you know, most I don't know. You guys are where? New York?
Jersey.
Okay, Jersey. Yeah, not many pool places open right now.
Well, we call LA.
The weather outside.
We call like the West Coast. We called a lot of LA places, and
okay.
One of them called back, I think, to yell at me, but I just said I found someone else, and they hung up like awkwardly.
Call back to yell. That's what I'm calling for. I'm calling. You know, I wanted to tell you I was laughing so hard at the tobacco. I wanted to say my father was brutally murdered. That was a great line.
Every time I have these prank calls, one of the songs is always "My father was murdered at whatever establishment we're calling." Like the best, I think one of my favorites was "My father was murdered at the car wash," and the fact, the point he ended up making was that you won't get father blood on your car at this car wash, just like you did at that car wash. Like it was great. It was great.
Well, yeah. If your father is brutally murdered here, we'll clean his blood off. Oh, my God. Well, I love it. I like the one where you said you were singing, children don't smoke cigars. I smoke pipes. Man, and then you asked the guy, what do you think of that? He goes, that was fire.
Yeah. He loved it. That guy was my favorite.
It was great. Yeah.
He might get an email.
Me so much of the Jerky Boys. You guys were killing it.
Thank you, Bob. Thank you. I feel like at some point we should put a CD out of just the prank calls because we do them every week. So that would be cool.
Well, you should do that. They're funny. I've watched and listened to many of them.
Thank you. That's a high honor to hear from you. You're a veteran in comedy. You've been around. I wanted to ask too, how often do you put out an album?
Well, this is my third in 15 years. Okay. So I guess you could say every 5 years. Something like that. Okay. I did one in 2008, I did one in 2013, and I did one in this year. So, yeah, I was a little slow on this. But I actually have another one coming out in July of this year.
Nice.
This last one that I put out was sort of the end of that kind of, that act and those kinds of jokes. I got a whole different thing coming up. So, yeah, every 5-6 years, something like that. I'm lazy.
I like that though. I feel like you're putting it out when you know it's when it's perfected. I feel.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I mean, you got guys like Seinfeld and Louis C.K. They want to do a new hour every year or every year and a half. I mean, I can't. I mean, I'd like to say I'm that prolific, but not. I mean, it takes a while to put together an hour of stuff or 45 minutes. So, you know, that's kind of my schedule, I guess. I don't know. I mean, some guys do it differently. They put one out every year, every 2 years. I can't.
Yeah. Yeah. And when you do the album, do you pick a certain venue? Like, is it a certain place that you usually kill at when you do that?
Well, you know, this time, yes, I picked this one out. This is here. It's local to me. It's a great club. It's called Mark Ridley's Comedy Castle. It's in Royal Oak, Michigan, and it's the A room in Michigan, which means that this is the room that gets all of the, you know, the guys and gals with television and movie credits and all that. Now, I only have a few television credits. That's not why they booked me. They booked me because it was summer. and that happens sometimes. So I just decided I love that room. Mark Ridley has been great to me, and I wanted to record that CD there.
Nice.
So, yeah. Anyway, some guys do theaters. You know, I'm still at the club level.
That's okay. It's okay. I was gonna say too, just like I see you as a big comedian, and you have an amazing following. You have a career, definitely. Do a lot. I wanted to know when we first hit you up. Do a lot of like podcasts and stuff hit you up for interviews?
Yeah. Because you know what? I mean, podcasts are. I mean, you. How many times are you doing yours a week, guys?
Once a week.
Once a week.
Consistently.
Okay. And, and that's what I thought. And Sal and I, my podcast partner, Sal D'Amelio, we do ours once a week. Cool. You know, if you're going to do that, you need content, and you guys know how to do it. You're doing your prank phone calls, you're having guests, you're doing regular bits, you're doing funny stuff all the time.
Yeah.
And if you're even a once a week show, choose through content fast. So you've got to find new things that make you laugh, that make your audience laugh. So, you know, that's kind of the way I approach, stand up. You got to have something new all the time.
Yeah, I agree. That's what I do. I do in a ridiculous amount of show prep, just, for every week. I didn't know if you ever went on a show that just you went on and they had nothing when you called in and you were just like,
well, yeah. I mean, I'll be honest with you. Yeah, that's happened before. And because they're, they don't. These are, maybe folks that have been only a couple of shows in, and they might be friends, other stand-ups, and they haven't quite gotten their footing yet. So you wind up carrying the show, and that's okay. I mean, everybody. I remember, when I was a young stand-up. I would always pray that after my set that someone in this group that I was with would, get some big laughs because I didn't.
I was going to ask that too. And in your younger years to now, does anything when you perform ever surprise you?
Oh, you mean is there anything still surprising to me? Yeah, absolutely. I just did a set of shows with Rob Schneider from Saturday Night Live.
Yeah.
And Deuce Bigelow. What a really nice guy. What a really thoughtful guy. It was a lot of fun. And in fact, we were at the Comedy Castle. And it's the first time I'd played there in 8 months since I did the CD. But yes, it was surprising to me to see how many people would come out on a Sunday night to watch stand-up comedy. It was 800 people. It was 2 shows, 400 apiece, sold out both shows. And so I guess I thought maybe one show, maybe one, on a Sunday night. No, 2 shows. He packed them in. Wow. We had a blast. People were great. So yeah, there's always a surprise somewhere.
That's cool. That's cool. I was going to ask too. What is the worst you've ever seen somebody bomb over the years?
The worst. Well, I'm okay. I it's funny you brought that up because this probably happened like this time last year. I'm not going to bring up any names.
Yeah.
But I was doing a series of shows in Dallas. And I don't want to insult the guy that opened for me by even naming the club, but not a lot of clubs in Dallas. So anyway, there was 5 shows, and he was I want to say he was young to comedy. He was not a young man. He was probably 35, and I don't know that he had ever done anything before that, and I couldn't understand why they booked him to do this.
Oh, that's what I was going to ask. I didn't know if they booked or you had connected with him.
No, they booked him, and he was a very nice guy, but had literally no clue how to tell a joke or how to fill, 25 minutes, how to do anything other than to go up there and just like jump around verbally and physically. And I thought, well, surely after the second show, the club manager is going to see that this guy isn't, just doesn't know anything about the business. But no, they kept trotting him out there 5 shows. And it was probably, I mean, you add that up. That was, the worst 2.5 hours of quote-unquote comedy that I've ever seen.
I kind of want to see it, though.
Yeah.
Just for the
Just
cringe
flailing.
effect. Just
Well, I'll tell you what. I'll tell you guys off air where you can possibly see it.
Yeah.
I felt, the first show I felt really bad for the guy. And the second show I still felt bad. But then I thought, wait a minute, you didn't learn anything from that first show. The third, fourth, and fifth show, then I was just pissed because I had to follow this. I had to walk in. I had a shovel. It was like a backhoe.
That's what I was going to ask, too. How do you bounce back from what that dude just set up? Like, he just shit the bed. And now you got to go out there.
There's two ways that can go. These are really good questions, by the way. Thanks, guys. There's two ways this can go. When you're following somebody who is a rookie or is just plain bad and won't listen, it keeps going in the dumper because the audience has been so primed to expect badness.
Yeah.
Or, which is most of the time. I'm going to say 90% of the time. When you take the stage, they automatically know that they're in the hands of a pro, and they relax and they appreciate that they're going to see a show now.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. Maybe you just came in and it was just like a breath of fresh air at that point.
Well, in this case, it was all except one show, and it was the early show Saturday. And it's because this guy's friends came, and there was probably like a 200-seat show. He probably had 50 people there. Yeah. So they were, it was just a really odd thing. I mean, there was nothing funny coming out of his mouth, but they were laughing like hyenas. And then when I came on, it took about 10 minutes for them to realize that I wasn't going to stop telling real jokes. So it was a strange weekend. But I
have mentioned a few times years ago I was at a show and the opener just sucked in my eyes. He just sucked, but everybody was loving him, and it was just like, it was old people in the audience. It was just, I don't know if it was his family or friends. And then Lewis Black came on, and I was kind of heckling the guy before, and people were looking and giving me dirty looks. And then Lewis Black came on, and none of the audience even laughed at his jokes. So I feel like it's the same situation like you just mentioned. Like, like Lewis, and he killed, but they were just not about him. They were about the guy before him that just sucked.
Well, that happens. I mean, early on in most comics' careers, you do contests, and invariably the winner of the contest is whoever brought the most people.
Yes. I remember just even back in the day seeing, I think it was the first season of Last Comic Standing. That's how they did it. They showed the guys going out on the street or whatever, just getting people to come just for them.
Yeah, that happens. This is a performance business, and you have to, sometimes early on you got to stack the crowd. I mean, even with some of even the big name specials and stuff, the Comedy Central specials, the HBO specials, they're not doing one show in a theater. They're doing 3 or 4, and then they take the best reactions from those shows and make one show. And the performer, he's doing all this in one day, maybe over 2 nights tops. But he or she's wearing the same outfit. The lighting is the same. Everything. The continuity people are very important in that.
Wow.
Because they have to, it's just like on a film. He was drinking a water here, and he had one water on, the stool. And this show, he doesn't have any. We got to put the water bottle there. Make sure it's the same level. Yeah, I mean, it goes into that kind of detail. So. But that's show business, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I know you mentioned the Sal and Bob show with Sal D'Amelio. How did you connect with Sal? Do you tour with him?
Yeah, we'll do a little touring together. We do this show like you guys. We do it once a week, and most of the time we're doing it somewhere at a steakhouse somewhere in the United States.
Right.
Yeah.
We might be in New York. We might do a Peter Luger's because we have a show out there, or maybe I have a show and Sal has an off weekend, and we'll go out there and do the show at the restaurant. Or it might be local here, or it could be Ohio or Dallas, whatever it happens to be. We'll do, we'll set up within the restaurant, and then we have, stuff that we do off air to get the crowd primed and having fun, and then we'll do audience participation things. We'll talk about the restaurant, that kind of thing. Sal and I have known each other forever.
That's cool.
You know, probably 20 years. And it's just, yeah, I mean, it's like watching you guys. You guys have a real good relationship. The conversation between you, the repartee is really comfortable. It's the same way it is with Sal and I.
Yeah, that's a great thing, and I just love you saying that because me and Slim have mentioned it off the air. Like, I don't think we were like that close when we started the show, but over the years we've like developed. Yep. We've developed a friendship.
Well, you do. I mean, and sometimes, especially when you're new to it, it's trial by fire, and when you experience that trauma together, when you're trying to fill an hour or 2 hours, you know.
That's what I was going to ask. I was going to ask that. Has there ever been a show where you're like, we can't put this show out? Like, was that any different than comedy? You know, doing stand up, like doing the podcast. Was there any episode where you're like, we can't release this episode? It just stunk or whatever.
Yes, absolutely. And there have been a couple of times I don't know how many shows we got now. 6. I think we have 70 shows in the can.
I looked. Yeah, it was about 70.
Yeah, we got a few. You guys got a ton. I think there have been maybe 4 or 5 times we said, you know what? We don't like that show. We're going to do a greatest hits this Monday.
And has there ever been anything has there ever been like any like issue where you guys did a show and you thought you were recording but weren't? I didn't, because we've had that before.
Yes, yeah, that's a great, I'm glad you brought that up. Yes, that happens. We've had that a couple times where the equipment malfunctioned, and we had this great show in the can, and we went to transfer it to Dropbox so the producer could edit it, and there was nothing there.
Oh, man. Slim is a genius.
We had to, start all over again and try to remember, and I thought, you know what, let's just wing it.
Yeah.
That's all you can do.
Slim has, like backup.
You ever done that?
Yes.
Yeah, well, because I'm so terrified of it happening again, because the few times it's happened, we do a 4-hour show. That's 4 hours of just you did fucking nothing. And it's happened twice. And we can't redo a show because it's all just kind of improv, and like you're not going to get the same effect that you get the first time we do. We can't replicate it. You just can't.
Yeah, no.
So since then, I am recording in 3 different places. Like, I have something that's just recording audio, and then I have 2 different programs that are recording both video and audio. So the chances of me fucking up at this point is very, very rare.
Yeah, but yeah, I remember early on we had Steve who do we have?
Mike Buschetti.
Mike Buschetti,
yeah.
And like I think the first 5 or 10 minutes, like Slim realized we hadn't been recording, and he was a champ. We started it over again, and he nailed it. But it was like, oh man, we just lost like 6 minutes.
Yeah, it's
to
not
10
a good
minutes
feeling.
of like cool content. Yeah.
Yeah, and the show, and you guys know, I mean, Sal and I are only doing maybe 45 minutes max. We try to keep it to a half an hour. So you guys, you're warriors, man. You're doing 4 hours a week.
Yeah.
A lot of alcohol is the secret, Bob.
Yeah.
Just drink.
Keep that
a lot of alcohol.
Oh yeah, well, I was going to say, I don't know that Sal and I have ever done a show completely sober. That's absolutely true.
I don't think you can. I don't think you could give a shit unless you've had a few.
Well, you got to, you got to get the joke juice going, right?
Yeah,
I mean, that's an old one, but
yeah.
You guys know how it is. You're whoever knows how many minutes in, and you're like, you realize you didn't have any film in the camera. You're like, son of a bitch. I like that joke we did. I like that moment we had. How do we go back and recreate it? And you can't. So you just go, all right, we're pros. Start all over again.
Yeah.
And here we go.
Yeah. I was going to ask you, too, even doing stand-up or just, like you said, doing the show, like, is there anything you do, like maybe before a set just to unwind or to loosen up?
Are you asking, like, what do I do, like, before a set or between sets?
Either or, like, is there something you do, like, maybe as a ritual, maybe to loosen up, like, maybe...
like, shoot some heroin, like, anything like that.
Yeah, no bueno on heroin, but...
No, we don't do it. I don't know. I don't know. Can you function on? I guess you can. Lenny Bruce did.
Yeah.
Let's see. What do I? Yeah, you know what? I have this ritual where I don't drink much, but I will have a double bourbon during the night. I'll have half of it before the first show and half between the first and second show.
Nice.
And I will, I'll sit in the wings and I'll look at the crowd and, kind of figure out what's going on with those people and try and, and take at least 5 or 10 minutes before, the feature is done, and then the MC calls me up to just kind of chill out in the back somewhere where it's silent and I can get a feel for what my first 5 minutes is going to be, something like that. Because it's never the same. I mean, I don't like coming out with the same jokes all the time. So, yeah, I mean, I just, it's a little meditative maybe. I don't want to get too show busy about it. I just, it's like a little pre-gaming is good. Just be quiet and listen and trying to get your footing,
Yeah.
What's your bourbon of choice?
My bourbon is Woodford if they've got it.
Okay.
If not, yeah, that's a great one. Buffalo Trace is good. And if I'm at a shot in the beer place, I'll just take a double Jack on the rocks.
Yeah. I'm drinking.
Plenty of shot in the beer place.
I'm actually drinking bourbon right now. I'm drinking Elijah Craig, I believe it's called.
I like Elijah Craig. Very
Decent.
Good choice, sir. I'm impressed.
I'm doing it as
Nice.
I'm drinking it as a cocktail, an old fashioned with a twist of lemon and a twist of orange.
He got citrus delivered during the last segment, if you didn't realize, Bob. One of our friends
Really?
brought like 3 bags of citrus for Slim's cocktails.
That is fantastic. Did they make the cocktails for you, sir?
No, I made
they
the cocktail
should
myself. Just delivered the citrus for the
Wow,
cocktails.
You're drinking like real mixed drinks in the studio there. This isn't just a shot of Jack. You're an old fashioned. Good for you.
And with my own simple syrup that I made myself before the show.
Yeah. He's
Wait a minute. How do you make simple syrup? How did you do
It's
that?
one part water and 1 part sugar. So I boil a cup of sugar and a cup of water. You stir it and you let it cool, and bam, simple syrup.
Okay.
Way better than the store-bought simple syrup, because I do have a bottle of Rose's simple syrup, and before the show I taste tested the both of them, and the store-bought simple syrup, it kind of has like an irony taste to it, but like the homemade simple syrup is very pure. Very good, very delicious.
He's even in the past given me some of the homemade, and yeah, it just tastes different.
Very
Tastes
clean.
So much better. So much better.
Well, that's really funny that you brought that up, because just today, now I've been doing this for years, but just today, I was having lunch with a friend, and when I order an iced tea at lunch, I ask them if they will give me a side of simple syrup, because I like sweet tea, but I don't want to put packets of sugar in it, because you could be there for 3 hours and that shit will never melt.
Yeah, yep.
Yes,
So-
it is something different.
And I'm dumping simple syrup every time she comes and refills my iced tea. And this buddy of mine's going, "What are you doing?" I said, "You ought to try it." So here we are talking simple syrup 8 hours later. That's a little kismet.
That's full circle. And it is such a difference, because I've also put the sugar in my drink, in the absinthe, and it's not the same as the syrup. The syrup's so much better.
No, it's not. The syrup is instantly, there's no dissolving. It permeates the whole drink.
Yes.
Where if you're doing sugar, it takes an hour for it to dissolve. Anyway,
Yeah.
this is the talk about white people problems. My sugar won't dissolve.
I need a faster dissolving sugar.
Bob, I'm still pissed that I and this was free. I went to a wedding recently with an open bar, and I asked a girl for a Tom Collins, and I watched her just open 3 packets of sugar and dump it in there, and I'm
no.
that is gross.
Get that out of here.
No.
No.
Wow.
She didn't get a tip, Bob.
Oh, Bob is all about tipping, though.
Well, I'm surprised she even knew how to make a Tom Collins, even poorly.
Even more.
That's, how old was she?
Yeah, she was a youngin'. She was probably early 20s, just worked at the establishment that was there, and they were like, "You're gonna be the bartender for the night."
She was the dish girl.
Yeah, probably the dish girl.
So Slim goes in and orders a Tom Collins. Everybody else is like, just give me a wild turkey on the rock.
Yeah.
Yeah. Then you
You're
got Slim.
testing the limits of this poor girl.
Well, everyone else, like, it was my cousin's wedding, and he had made up this cocktail that they, like, made, like, 2 days in advance, so she was just pouring that pre-mixed cocktail into, like, everyone else's cup, but I come up, and I'm like, what can you mix me? Let me challenge your bartending skills.
Yes, like, she's not Sam Malone, Slim. Give this one a break.
Slim.
Well, no, I get you. You want what you want in life.
Yeah.
Right? I completely get it. And nothing bums me out more than being in a wedding and going up and asking for a bourbon, and they say, we don't have any. All we have is Canadian Club or Canadian Mist. I'm like, ugh. So,
little Windsor for your glass.
Yeah, a little Windsor.
Yeah.
Oh.
By the way, I live about 20 minutes from Windsor. I hop the bridge or go into the tunnel under Detroit, and I'm in Windsor. I am at the distillery in 25 minutes.
Oh wow!
Wow.
Yeah,
that's right there.
So just to tell you how lucky I am.
Have you been to the Windsor distillery?
It's the Hiram Walker Distillery, and no, I've never taken a tour there. It's on the way to the casino. There's a Caesar's Palace in Windsor, Ontario, and I like to go over there and play blackjack. So,
nice.
In fact, there's a cut on the album called Birthday Casino that I was actually talking about Detroit casinos, but some of that stuff is actually true, what happens in there. So.
Oh. Bob, I have to thank you so much. The time has flown, but it's always a pleasure talking to you, my friend.
Oh, same here, guys. Thanks for having me on. I appreciate it, and I appreciate you pumping the CD. And I said last time we're going to do a little cross-pollination here. We want you guys on the Sal and Bob Show. I'm sorry I haven't made that happen yet, but we will in the next few weeks.
Definitely reach out, and I'd love to set that up. And where can everybody find you, and what upcoming gigs do you have?
Well, I am in a little town called New Baltimore, Michigan this week. It's up in the Thumb area. And then after that, I'm all over Indiana, Ohio, Illinois for the next 3 weeks. People can find me at bobphillipscomedy.com. Follow me on Twitter. Let's talk. I mean, I like to talk to people who follow me. I don't want to just say, hey, like my jokes, whatever. Let's have a conversation at Bob the Suit. And then Facebook, Funny Man Bob. They can find me there.
Awesome, Bob. You are the best, man.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you. It's always a blast, and we will definitely talk soon.
I hope so. Take care, fellas.
You too, my
Have a
friend.
good one.
Take care.